Okay.
Could you tell me which, I'm looking at the first name here. Is this the right set of questions, or is it the?
No, that's the right set of questions.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Do we take attendance?
No.
I'm just playing. I'm just messing around. How are you guys doing? So I'm really happy to be here. This is pretty cool. This is my first time actually speaking about our company out like this. So I appreciate you guys having me, and
We're glad to have you.
yeah, we'll have some fun. We're gonna do some. I'm gonna go through these questions that you guys had asked, and then you guys can ask me. I'm assuming whatever within the context of business, I would assume.
Yeah. They're a little shy sometimes on questions.
Okay.
That's why I haven't prepared them beforehand.
Okay, cool. So just real quick, just to give you some of my background, my name's Joseph Guerrero. This is my wife, Irma. I'm native to the area. I grew up in Lamont. Does anybody know where Lamont is? It's that little, right? It's like Mexico, just really close. So if you don't want to drive to the border, it's really close. So I grew up in Lamont, moved to Bakersfield when I was a teenager, and then finished school up here. So a couple of you, and it's actually, there was, I don't want to say quite a few, but a couple of you asked, like, when I decided to want to go into business for myself. That was actually a common question, or something similar, so I figured I'd knock that one out. I didn't know I wanted to go into business until at a very late age. I knew I wanted to do something, and I knew I wanted to be something, and I knew I wanted to maybe create or build, or, but I really didn't know that meant going into business for myself. And so it wasn't until just a few years back that I saw an opportunity, and so I was like, I'm getting old, at least I feel old. I'm already in my 30s. I'm like, I got to do something. I don't want to wait too long. And so my kids are growing up. They're already in high school. And so I'm like, I have to move. I've got to do something now if I want to do something, because it's going to take time to build. And so I actually didn't decide to go into business until maybe just a few years back. But like I said, I've always kind of known that I wanted to do something, or maybe even work for myself. So is it okay if I just run through the questions? Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
So somebody, I'm just going to go down the list here. So somebody was asking me if I offer discounts to business owners when they order, business cards. I'm assuming company letterheads, that sort of thing. The answer is yes. And so before I go into detail, our company is a screen printing company, but we're a graphics company. We print. We don't just print though. We press, and that's something completely different. And so some of the apparel that you guys are wearing is very similar to stuff that we've done, where it was either put on by ink or by like vinyl, maybe something like you're wearing there. I can't tell from here, but it looks like it could be vinyl. And so we do all types of printing now. We've kind of moved from just screen printing T-shirts to actually doing all sorts of stuff like business cards, letterheads, banners, large signage. If you needed me to, I could do a billboard. We could do that. And so we've kind of moved up from just screen printing T-shirts, which is where we started, to now offering full service. So we do all types of printing. And with that, we get a lot of people who ask for discounts and say, hey, can you hook me up? I'm another business owner. And that's actually really cool, because we're a small business, and when we started, it was really hard to get started when it came to having our own stuff printed when we didn't have the equipment yet. So when we started, we only had this screen printing kit. It was a really nice screen printing system, but that's pretty much all we had. And we had a vinyl cutter and some other small pieces of equipment. So we were limited to what we could do. And so even when we started as a printing company, we didn't actually have all of the same resources, that we do now have. So I had to look for somebody to actually print my own business cards. I had to actually look for somebody to help with our graphics and design. I had to actually look for somebody to help come up with even a name for our company. I actually paid a service because I couldn't do it. It took me about 3 months or so to actually come up with the name of our company. And this company we paid couldn't do it either. And after many attempts, they said, there's nothing we can do. We tried, and it was one night I was on my computer, and we were tossing some ideas around. And when we first started, I had to find a place for us to put the equipment. And so we had just moved into a new house, and we had this tandem garage. And I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like an L shape. So we had this back area that was kind of nice and big. And we built it, and we enclosed it, and we created this studio. And so we called it and named it Studio for so long that I was thinking, why didn't we think of this sooner? We just call ourselves Studio Prints. And so that's actually where the name came from. It's this garage that we have, or this area in the garage that we created, and it was our studio at the time. So that's kind of how we got started. Some of you had asked what that journey was like in the beginning, and it really wasn't a journey. It was just kind of a moment where I saw an opportunity. I had a friend that I knew since he was younger who had been screen printing for his uncle at their company, and that company actually went under. He decided to close the shop and sell all of his equipment. My friend actually went in with a few other people, purchased the equipment, and I had heard about it, and I thought, man, I missed that opportunity. I should have went in with them. It sounded really cool. It sounded like they already had some business, too. And I didn't act on it. Well, 6 months went by, and that business fell through, too, because they realized really quick that it was really hard to stay busy and to keep up with customers, and to really, they really didn't anticipate the amount of work that it took. So that fell through. So as soon as I had heard that, he was over my house one night, and I said, hey, do you still have that equipment? He says, I have to do something with it. I said, well, I have a place we can put it. Let's go partners. Let's do this. You know, I think I have some ideas. I have some background in business. I think together with you doing production and me taking care of the business side, I think we'll do great. And that's kind of how we got started. And so it was at that moment that I knew I needed to grab the opportunity. Otherwise, somebody else would have came and probably bought the equipment and have been using it now, or maybe he'd have sold it off and never have a chance to get it back. So somebody asked, what is your advice for people who are thinking of starting their own company, and how is it difficult in the beginning? The short answer, it's very difficult. But it's not so difficult that you guys can't do it. It just means that there's work involved. It's kind of like taking this class. It might not be your favorite class to take, but it's one of those steps. You just, it's one step after another. And it's constant, and it never quits, and there's one thing after another, and getting a license and registering the name, and getting your paperwork set up, and doing all those things that it takes to start a company. So it can be very difficult for most people, and a lot of people give up in that area where they start trying to get their company going, and then they decide, you know what, I don't know if this is a good idea. This might be too much work. And all I can say is you just keep pressing on. It eventually becomes easier, and it eventually becomes something that you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and so you're like, okay, I see it. I'm only this far, but I see it, and I'm just going to keep pushing forward. So it can be very hard, but it can be very rewarding too. The next question is actually about what is the most rewarding aspect of your job and why? Do you feel this may have changed from your first idea of which aspect would be? So I'm assuming they're asking if it's changed since the beginning, and it has a lot. When we first started, we said, hey, we're just going to print T-shirts. We're going to hit up the people that we know, so the churches and the other small, I would say, entities and people that are around us that we just know. And we just keep this screen print, the machine running, and then we'll be cool. It'll run, we'll make a little bit of money. And that was kind of the idea, like, let's get started, and we'll just, do that. What I realized really quick was that we really had to go out and grab business. Had I done the math and actually looked at all of the other screen printing and graphics companies in Bakersfield, I know Bakersfield's growing, But even so, there are plenty of them. There are plenty of other screen printing companies. We're not the only game in town. And had I done the math before in advance, I probably would have scared myself out of even going further. Because had I looked at it and said, wait a minute, there's too many of this, let's do something different, you know. And I'm glad I didn't do that. I heard somebody say, don't get analysis paralysis. Doing all the numbers in the beginning and be like, oh my God, I don't want to start this company now. This is too much. I can't move forward with this. And so I encourage you guys, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, you guys want to do something, don't get so paralyzed by the numbers so much, because what we've been able to do, I think anybody is able to do, what we've been able to do is generate our own business. So about 75% of our business we've generated ourselves, and it's people that weren't even printing in the first place. They didn't even buy T-shirts from anyone screen printing in Bakersfield. These are people that didn't know that services exist to the average person and didn't know how to go about doing it, so it seemed kind of complicated, and didn't know that they themselves could actually profit from it. We were able to show them how to do that. And so we actually created all of our business. Everybody I would say about 75% of our business right now comes from people that we know, that we showed them how they can be profitable and ways that they can get their brands out. And so I haven't even tapped into, we probably tapped into a very small percentage of what Bakersfield has to offer. We are in some schools, we are in quite a few churches, we do help some other nonprofits, we do help other small businesses, up-and-coming businesses. But for the most part, we've generated all of this on our own. And I realized that early on that we wouldn't be able to advertise like the regular businesses. We wouldn't be able, because we didn't have the money. We wouldn't be able to, go out. Because one thing I didn't even know one asked me was what I did for a living. I know it's crazy, right? You guys just assume that I am a screen printer and I'm an entrepreneur and I own my business. And I do. That's actually not what I do for a living. See, when I started the company, the idea was that we would be able to sustain ourselves eventually one at a time, which would be meaning my partner, my general partner, Nick, who's my business partner, he's a production guy, and then would come myself and then additional employees. So I still have a full-time job, which is crazy because it's like I have 2 full-time jobs. Feels like 3 really, to be honest. And so it's one of those things where I guess we could plan it out and say, hey, this is what it's going to look like. But I guarantee you, in most cases, it's going to be very different than what you guys have planned it to be. Again, rewarding and fun. Do you plan to open a physical store at any point? Okay, so last August we moved. We had the opportunity, we had the funds, we made some money last year, and so we saved it and we said, hey, let's do it. Let's sign a lease. Let's get crazy. We don't, once we sign this, our bank account's going to go down to literally nothing, but let's do it. And so that's what we did. We took the chance. We said, this was last August. So technically, we've only been in the building, 8 months? We've only been in our location off of District. And so I know for some of you, how many of you guys have actually have taken any steps towards creating a business for yourselves? You have? Okay. So how far have you gotten?
We're official now.
Okay. So you got your name, you got your license, you got your tax ID, right? You've got, okay, cool. What kind of business are you?
Tech development.
Awesome. Okay. Big future. Big future. Great. Good for you. It's crazy to think that you could one day be in a garage, hooking up friends with some T-shirts, and the next day actually taking orders from a local high school saying, hey, we need 500 of these, right? It's crazy, but it's doable, guys. It's very doable. It's very possible. It's like I said, it's just steps along the way. You start here, and you just have to keep moving forward. We have a physical store, so we're on. Am I out of the camera here, or I'm good?
You're close to out of the camera.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let me move it just a little bit. There you go.
Okay, I'll stay here. So we have a location now. We moved out of the garage, which is awesome, and now we're on to our location, I would love to see Studio Prints franchise out. I know it sounds crazy, right? But I would love to build something that somebody else would want to invest in. Say, hey, I would love to start a Studio Prints at the coast. I would love to start a Studio Prints in Fresno, down LA, wherever. And that would be cool. And so my goal right now is really creating these processes so that we can sustain ourselves and be productive, be successful, and survive. Survive the next, economic downtimes when it's not that great, and be able to survive. And I'll tell you guys this: I know it's crazy, but surviving sometimes is being successful. Just surviving is being successful, because I've seen it along in these last 2 years that we've actually been a company, that just surviving was actually a success for us, because we saw a whole lot of return, after that. So just being able to hold on to our ideas and our processes and the clients and taking care of people was a big deal. Who's your target market? So right now we focus on churches, nonprofits, schools, because there's tons of schools here in Bakersfield. So we've already tapped into a little bit of each. I would say maybe about 10 or 15% of each of those. And we're moving into other small businesses, because we know how hard it is to get started. So if we're a printing company, we just met some local farmers, and you would think, what do farmers actually need any print for? That's, they're playing with cows and stuff. Well, I'm not playing with cows, but you guys understand what I'm saying, right? So we're like, what is it that they need? And this next generation of farmers is not your average farmer. And they're very vocal, and they're very out there in the community, and they've got to stand at a farmer's market. So we hooked them up with a banner. They did some T-shirts for us that nobody else would do because they only had a very small order. And so we hooked them up, and now they've ordered T-shirts and hats and tank tops, and she has an order in right now for some more hats and another banner and all kinds of other things. And we've actually seen them grow as a small business from one farmer's market to the next, and with online sales. And so it's cool to actually see that. And so we want to be a part of that. If we can help them and give them discounts and incentives to do business with us, and we get to see them grow, we grow together. It's a good relationship. And so from that, she was a relative of somebody that worked at a church who was a secretary who happened to put in all the orders for that church, and now we've had multiple orders from them from that church. So it's crazy to see it grow like that. So I would love to see us at a physical location. I don't know that we would have anything up like in the next year or two, but who knows? We've grown a lot in the last 2 years, so it'd be cool to see. I mean, obviously you can come in, and we've designed our studio now. We're in the process of remodeling and fixing it, because it was kind of a warehouse before. So we have an office, a big warehouse. But we've kind of designed an area upstairs in the loft where you could come in, and we have samples. You could actually try on your stuff. You could see what your hat looks like. You can see what a shirt or a blouse or, all these things that you order, and you're like, this didn't even fit like I thought it was going to. We want to eliminate that. And so we have that area, and we're going to be investing in that area. So, and that's one of the questions somebody asked: how do we differentiate ourselves? We want to be intentional in letting people know that we want them to get what it is that they're actually paying for and what it is that they're actually ordering. We want them to be a part of the process. So we don't just want someone to order 100 T-shirts. That would be great. At $8 a T-shirt, that's $800. That'd be cool. But that's not necessarily, because what we find is that most of those T-shirts, and you guys probably have some, they end up at the back of the closet on the floor. They're a rag. You give them to your little brother or sister. You don't want to see it again because it's harsh, and you don't even like to wear it. You guys like to wear what you buy and what feels good to you. And so that's kind of how we differentiate ourselves. We've gone out into the market, found all of these other items for a fraction of the increase in cost, but has a big impact in the way it feels, the way it sits on you, the way it makes you feel, the breathability, and all those things. So we've tried to offer a better product and still be competitive, if not less, than the majority of the businesses in town. And so Someone says, I want to know how big an order has to be for both your company and the customer to feel they are getting a bargain or a good deal. Good question. So what we've seen in most cases, if you guys call around and you say, hey, I want to order some t-shirts, there's a minimum. That's just how it is in the industry. We don't have a minimum. So we kind of turned it upside down, and it kind of makes other screen printers a little upset with us. We don't have a minimum. If you just want one shirt, it's fine. If the value is the quantity for you, then we'll just print whatever that is. We make it simple. Obviously, it costs a little bit more just to have one shirt printed, but we know that if we can build that relationship with you, then maybe 100 shirt order might come in, or a banner, or business cards, or we've seen it all the time. So if you just want a one shirt, we'll do that. You don't have to go to the kiosk in the mall. You can send us the graphics. You can actually go to our website, build it, send us the graphic. We can make the shirt. And in a lot of cases, we can do it like within 48 hours or same day if it's a simple design, kind of like the ones right there. So we could totally do that. How do you sell to customers outside of Bakersfield? Yes. What you guys don't see on our site is I have another site, and I have apparel listed on other people's sites and online. So where it might not say studio print design, it might be, we do some printing for one of the local bands. They're called Hate Drugs. And they reach out to us, and so we print for them. And they have a store online. So I have software that places that my store on their website. I take orders. I ship them from my place. And it could be, we've shipped all over the United States, parts of Canada. The customer doesn't know that it's not coming from Hate Drugs band merch. They just assume that that's where it's coming from, that it comes from us. And so what we do is we brand that apparel, and then we ship it out. And so when we ship it, it looks like it came from Hate Drugs. So it might have their band stickers, it might have their message, it might have a custom tag. Sometimes we go as far as removing the generic tag and screen printing the actual information on the shirt, which is kind of cool. And that's an area we're still working towards. So it's neat because we can do that, and the customer's happy, and we can get it shipped out quick. And these guys don't have to do anything. We take care of everything for them. They just send us the designs. We put them on shirts. This is one of them that they did in the winter time. That was kind of cool. They have like a little peel with a no sign through it. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then they have their theme is to stay tropical. So that's kind of anyways, that's their graphic. But we love doing it. And yes, we ship all over. And very soon we're working our way towards not studio prints, but separately becoming a nonprofit. That's the goal for this year. And so hopefully we become a nonprofit, and we can have our store up and running for that. So stuff that we design or our graphic artists help design, and we can actually become our own store, our own brand, and everything else. And that actually has a label already. It's called The Greater Things. I've never told anybody that, but you guys know now. So if you go to thegreaterthings.org, it's just there's nothing on there yet. And so we already own the domain, and we're working towards that. So we just need a little bit more money to become a nonprofit. And then we'll be shipping everywhere. That's the idea. So we'll be shipping our own merchandise, and with every purchase, there is money that gets donated to a cause. So that's the idea. So we have friends that are missionaries in Africa. My wife and I have actually visited them in Africa and Uganda. We have friends in Honduras. We've actually visited our friends in Honduras a couple times. We took our family one time. And so we have people that we know around the world, and it'd be cool to be able to help them in their cause. And so there'll be a message with, an idea behind every shirt. So it would be very cool to get that up and running this year. I hope to do that. What made you choose silk screening? How do you know this would be the right business for you? I didn't. I saw an opportunity and I took it. I wasn't a screen printer. I know nothing about it. I grew up. I knew how to clean yards, right? And it's not because I'm Hispanic. I'm just saying I knew how to clean yards, right? And I worked for my uncle at his body shop at a young age, so I became a body man. And that was really cool because when you met a girl, you could tell them you're a body man. It just sounded cool. So I did that for a couple years, and then that's how I met my wife. And then after that, I got into sales, and I've been in sales for the last 15, 16 years. And so that was kind of my background. I didn't have a screen printing background, but I knew Nick. I saw a whole lot of potential in him. And the guy is awesome at what he does, and he's a workhorse. And he's a machine when he literally is a machine when you watch him screen print. And so I didn't look at the opportunity I saw was in a person and in the equipment that he had. That was the opportunity. I didn't necessarily wake up and say I want to screen print T-shirts, but I knew I wanted to build something, and I knew I needed help, and I knew I was going to need some type of equipment. I knew eventually I would need the insight into that area, whatever I decided, and he was a perfect fit. So we make a good team, we complement each other, and so he's cool to work with. He's kind of crazy, but he's a cool guy to work with. Do you have a busy time of year? If so, how do you utilize your time management to ensure all orders are done on time? So we do have a few busy times throughout the year, but what we've noticed is as we create business for ourselves, busy times now are spotty, and we really haven't nailed down the exact times of when that happens. Usually during school years we're busy because we're doing a lot of stuff for athletic sports and stuff like that. Summers can be busy because we have summer camps that we'll actually go out to. This year I hope to actually go out and print at the camp. That would be really cool. Someone can walk up and custom order their apparel by saying, hey, I want that shirt with that color and that on the back or something like that. So it'd be fun. So summer's usually pretty busy. I think the only non-busy time would be the beginning of the year. That's, I think, for any business after the holidays, right? It kind of everyone spent their money and they're broke and they're waiting for taxes and all kinds of other stuff. So that's the time we try to utilize and work on our studio or prepare for the rest of the year. Anybody have any questions I haven't gone over yet? Anything? No? Yes.
So you're running a nonprofit and a for-profit business, or how is that?
Yeah. So I didn't want Studio Prints to become a nonprofit. That's not the idea. But I wanted to start this nonprofit. For one, it just sounds really cool. I'll be honest with you guys. But the reason behind the nonprofit was we will outsource all of the work through Studio Print. Studio Print will become the printer, sole printer for all of our apparel through a nonprofit. And there's to be honest, there's good tax write-offs for that. We can be more efficient that way, and we want to donate out of that nonprofit. We want the money to be easily transferred. We don't have to worry about getting forms back from the actual people that we're donating to. So it's a little bit different, and I've always wanted to start a nonprofit. It just sounded cool. I wanted to be able to help people in that sense. So Studio Print would be two separate entities. What is the best way to help customers who are not satisfied with their purchases? Okay, so it happens once in a while. It'll happen. We'll mess up. Nick is slightly dyslexic. I didn't mention that. Right? So we got to check this guy's work. He's a great guy, but he does. He's made some mistakes. You can ask my wife afterwards. She sees all of them. And so there was one time. This is actually a pretty expensive track jacket. This is one that we did for Speed Cube Shop. This guy opened up right around the corner from us, and he's ranked number, I don't know, he's in the top 100 in the world. He's world renowned. The guy is huge, and he lives here in Bakersfield. Young guy. And so he has a team, and they're all over the world. So, parts of China, right, all over. Every continent, there's somebody, right? And so so we're doing jackets, and then this happens. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's an upside down 5, right? Or something like that. And what's that? Or backwards too, yeah. The last name is Chu, by the way, so that's correct. The name was, thank God, his dyslexia didn't eat up the name too, but this happens, And there's nothing that you can do other than start over and get another jacket and reprint it and eat the cost, and that's what happens when you do business. I saved this jacket, so I want to hang it up, on the wall. Be like, Nick, don't ever do this again. because it's a very expensive. It's like a $50 jacket. So stuff like that happens, and we try to catch it before the customer sees it. So we have a quality check that we're working on, and as it comes through, he has like a conveyor belt, and it drops in. And we grab them, we fold them, we lay them out, and as someone's laying them out, they're kind of looking and making sure that my wife's really good at it. She has a great eye at catching all of our mistakes. And so we lay them out and we can see them. And so as long as we've got these processes in place, we can usually catch it. But every now and then we'll have somebody say, hey, this is too small. Yes.
You guys catch that before it went out, or did you guys
Yeah,
send that out?
we actually caught it. We caught it. But we showed him. We're like, hey, we messed up. Because I had to order another jacket. There was a time crunch. So this might not have been an issue getting to the customer, but it was an issue to get him his jacket in time to get him out to the team because they were competing all over the world at one time, and so he had to get the jackets out. So it was a time crunch, and we stayed late one night to finish them, and we did what we had to do. So, but stuff like that happens. It does. We mess up. I was going to bring in another shirt that he misspelled. No, he had done the same thing as like an upside down, but this time he had printed like 50 of them or something like that. And it happens, guys. It's going to happen. And in the beginning, I was like, I don't understand. This makes no sense. But as time goes on, I realize that we're all human. We all make mistakes. It's going to happen. It'll happen to you guys. It's going to happen. You know, in the tech world, it could be some code that's miswritten. Who knows? But it's going to happen. So we try to catch it. Now, what we've done is we brought along, I guess you can call her an intern. We brought along this girl. Her name's Gina. I know her father. Hardworking family. I wanted to bring her in as part of the team to take care of some of the things that we now have no time to do, and that's doing follow-up with our clients, trying to grab new business. I'll be sending her out probably in the next week or two when she's done with school for the summer, and she'll be reaching out to some of the, because we've never advertised. We'll have a radio spot coming out, though, which pretty soon. I have a meeting with Fox, and so we'll be meeting with them in 2 weeks, and we'll have a radio spot. So we're working on that right now. But we've never advertised, so we'll send her out. And part of the way we're going to catch some of these things is she contacts customers after the fact. We want to make sure that they're happy with their order, they got everything that they ordered, and if they have any issues or questions, they can ask us. And if everything sounds great on the phone, then we'll shoot them an email link, and hopefully they'll leave us a really cool review on Yelp or something like that. Anybody see our Yelp? No? Do you guys, Yelp? You saw it? Okay. How do we look on Yelp? Yeah. That look good? Okay. All right. Thank you. So it's crazy because we get a lot of business from Yelp, man. Everyone's on their mobile device. Bakersfield screen printing, print T-shirts, Bakersfield, stuff like that you guys would normally Google or search, and we pop up. We've moved up. We weren't even on the page when we first opened, and now depending on the search, we're like top 5 in Bakersfield, which is crazy. How much money did it take to start up your business? I get this question a lot. Very little. And for one, we used our garage, so I didn't, our electric bill went up like crazy. But we started in our garage. We had orders immediately from a previous client, and we were able to stretch those dollars from that first order to order some more and move forward. And that's kind of how we've done business. We've grown with the funds that we had. And so now we're getting a little more adventurous and trying to, create it a little differently. But we've just used the funds that we had originally. So out of pocket, probably less than $500. That includes my licenses and everything, But immediately we had responsibilities to have to take care of. Like I said, our electric bill went through the roof because we're using equipment that uses only electricity and high amounts of it. We have 2 burners. One's at 500, the other one's at 600 degrees, all electric. So you can imagine running those for hours at a time and having to run the air conditioning because those create heat. So, and then inventory. We had to order as we went. So if you place an order, I would order that, and I'd have to cover the cost of that order, roll it when it's sold, pay myself back, and then be able to take whatever proceeds to the next order, and so on and so on and so on. That's kind of how we grew. We really didn't have funds to start out with. So, best part of owning your own business? It's cool. It really is cool to be an owner of your own company. It really is. It's cool to say that you own your own company. It's cool to actually be the owner of something. I think deep down we all kind of want to have that, where we're in charge of, we oversee something, So it's cool to be the owner of a company. I think the most rewarding part, though, is being able to hire or bring people on. We haven't been able to do that yet. My wife helps part-time. She's not really an employee for the company, but helps with some of the accounting and stuff like that. But just recently, we were able to bring somebody on now who's our intern / client representative, and it's cool to do that. That's probably my favorite part of being an owner. I can't wait to hire more people, and I haven't even hired myself, but I'm okay with that. I would love to build something where I could bring more people in who are creative, who bring a lot to the table. It's crazy because I remember when I was about 18 years of age, and I remember someone coming in. I was selling here in Bakersfield, and I remember someone coming in from a company and saying, "Hey, I want to take you to lunch, and do you have a minute? I'd like to talk to you about my company." I thought, I'm just selling jacuzzis, spas, pools, whatever they had me selling at the time, kitchen and bathtub, fireplaces, whatever they had. And I remember him taking me to lunch next door and telling me about their business. And I remember him saying, we think you'd be a great asset or a great addition to our team. We'd love for you to come check us out and consider working for us. And man, I still remember that feeling today. That's happened to me twice. And it's a great feeling to have for somebody to say, "Hey, we need you. We'd love for you to join the team. We think you'd be a great salesperson. We think you'd be a great addition." And so I would love to do that to somebody else. And I feel like we did that with this last edition. Man, I would love to find somebody at any point in time to come across, could be in this classroom even, and say, "Hey, you know what? I think you'd be a great addition to our team. Why don't you join us? Let's see if this works." That would be awesome. So that's my favorite part. I want to create some jobs, I want to be able to hire people. And even if I had to keep my day job and where I could fill my studio with some creative, hardworking people, I would do that. Before I probably quit my job. My wife probably doesn't like to hear that. But I would hire people before. It wasn't too long ago that our bank account was probably down to $500 because we had extended ourselves on these large orders so much. And the crazy thing is that's the time I hired somebody. It was like we didn't have the money. We had these orders. What do you do, when you're down? We weren't expecting future orders after the big order, so it's kind of and I was like, it'd be a great time to hire somebody and bring them on. And I think most people would probably say I was crazy, but I don't know. I saw it as an opportunity I saw somebody as an opportunity, and it's always about people with me. If I could make a difference, if I could help somebody, if I could bring them along, if I could, something, be a part of whatever it is that they're doing. I think that's the most rewarding part. Let's see, how are we doing on time? We good?
You got about
5-10 minutes?
yeah, you got 10 minutes to go.
Okay. Let's see, something different. Something that sets us apart. We talked about that. Biggest challenge of owning a printing business. Competition, probably. I would say competition. And online sales. Everybody sells stuff online. Someone asked about Custom Ink and all these other companies. How do we compete? Well, I've been able to stay really busy with just my local business and the small things. So as we branch out, I don't think we're going to have an issue right now. Is making sure that our processes and our quality is there. I don't want to branch out and ship shirts to somebody in Texas and they're like, "This is crap. I'll never buy from these guys again." We're working on our processes. We're working on the quality. We're making sure we have the best apparel and the best inks that we use, and so that's what we're doing right now. And we're staying busy doing it. How do you maintain your creativity for your designs? So I'm not super creative. I'm a little creative. I learned the software that we use. I learned how to screen print, so I'm pretty good at it. I'm not the best, but I'm pretty good at it. And I have graphic designers that are freelance. So, if you guys are freelance graphic designers, hit me up. Let me know. Send me a message. I'll send you some work. See what you guys are all about if you do that. But that's what I do. I don't try to pretend like I'm the creative graphics guy. I have somebody that does that. I don't pretend like I'm the screen print guy. I have Nick that does that. I don't pretend that I have time to follow up with customers. Now I have Gina who does that. I don't do the accounting anymore, or I will maybe a little bit. My wife helps with that. I'll take that back when she comes here to school. One thing I can tell you guys just before we finish is you're not the best at everything. You're not. Everybody has gifts and talents that they're good at. Their strengths, right? Go with those. Use that. It's great to learn all these other things, but use that and partner and find people. Just so you know, we offer embroidery. I don't have an embroidery machine in my warehouse, not one. But I've been able to partner with different people here in Bakersfield, creating business for them and good work in return for us because they've been doing it for so long. So I can immediately have great work. Graphic artists, I can immediately partner with them, and then they can do some of the graphic work for us. Partner with people. It's important. And one last thing I didn't talk about, somebody asked about getting started, funds, money, stuff like that. The most important thing that you guys can work on now, if you're considering starting a business, is your credit. Start working on your credit. I don't know how many of you have credit in here, or have not even thought about it, or don't run their credit, or don't even know their score. I would say if you're going to college, you need to know your score. If you don't know what's on your credit, go to, I think, freecreditreport.com or wherever these online sites are. Find a good, reputable one. Find out what your score is. Find out what you have on there. It's the best advice I can give you. If you're starting out in a business, it's great to have great credit. My wife and I have impeccable credit. We're probably in the top 2 percentile in the nation. Why? Because I'm not bragging. It's something we work towards. It's like you working towards this degree. You're going to have it at the end and say, I worked for this. We worked for our credit. You should start working toward building your credit. It's important if you're going to start a business. People will deny you right off the bat. If they say, hey, I want to help you, but I don't even want to sell you stuff because when I ran your credit, you haven't even paid your T-Mobile off, You still got Boost over here that's trying to get $60 from you. How am I going to allow you to order $10,000 worth of inventory? And when you start your business has no credit. You are the backer. You're the person that's going to back your business, so you better have good credit. And it's important to know what that score is. It's important to know how to get there. If you guys have questions, you can shoot me an email. I'll send an email, and you can. I just know about credit because I've been in the credit business for the last 10, 12 years. I've been in the automotive industry, so I know what it looks like. I know what it takes to get there. I can give you guys some insight on how to get your scores up. But man, take care of your credit. It's so crucial. The things that you do personally are going to affect you on the business side, whether you like to admit it or not. And even though we like to say business is business and pleasure is pleasure, or that's personal and that's business, yes, but man, it really does come over and affect what you do in your business, your relationships, your family, your work ethics, all these things that you don't think are going to play a role in how you do business. I guarantee you're going to find out really quick what's important, what's going to affect your business in the future. So start to think about those things. Don't want to start a family, don't want to get married. Those are all good things. But you need to think about those. You need to plan those things out. I need to look at my credit. I don't know my score. Am I over 700? Am I over 800? Am I below 5? Those are all important things to know. How do I pay this off? How do I get my score up? Because I'm probably going to need maybe 1 or 2 loans when I start. I'm going to need credit from the wholesalers. That's important if you're buying a product or buying merchandise. So, we all out? Are we good? Just about.
No, you got 3 minutes.
Anybody have any questions before I finish? I'm sorry I talked your guys' ears off. I do that sometimes. You can ask my wife. Anything? Anybody? Okay. So this was fun, right? For those of you who came to class, I purposely did not bring any business cards. I would love for you guys to reach out to us. Subscribe to on our site. You shoot me an email. I'll send an email out. And so if you guys, I'll send you guys like the special coupon. So if you did eventually in the future want to buy something from us, it'd be like something ridiculous, like 80 or 90% off, something cool like that. follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and then I'll reach out. And so every now and then we'll send like free T-shirts out, just so hopefully you'll put it on and post it. And that's one of the things that we started to do. So get a hold of us or me if you guys have any other questions. I'd love to help. And or if any of you guys do graphics in here, shoot me an email with some cool stuff, and I'll take a look at it. We're always looking for new freelance artists. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for having me. You guys are awesome.
Let's give Joseph a big round of applause, everybody. Joseph, thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the second one is on the other side of campus, basically.
Okay. I have directions, but what building is it?
It's basically the ground. It's the basement of the library.
Basement library, okay. So
On
go
the-
through the library and then go down?
No,
Or is
you're
it
going to go
down?
around the side.
The side of the library. Okay.
It's the east side of the library.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.